Section 2 baseball in full force here as we head into the month of May. Joining me every Monday in May will be Dan Savita, the Prep Baseball Report, New York version, here on 1045theteam.com. Dan, how are you? Thanks for being with us.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having us.
Good. Dan, this area, the explosion of talent in Section 2 has really gone up in the last few years. We've got several players playing in minor league baseball, even getting up into almost Double-A now. We've got J.P. Sportman, Brandon Cogswell, Jeff Hoffman, who was a number 9 pick in the draft last year, among others. This area has a lot of talent now, doesn't it?
Oh, my Lord. It's, we're still getting a grip on the whole state, and Section 2 has some tremendous talent. Some of our higher-ranked players are coming out of Section 2, obviously headlined by Garrett Whitley, who, as of recently, was the number 17th guy on the top 100 out of Major League Baseball. So that's high school and college in the country. That's ridiculous.
We were at Shen versus Niskayuna 2 Fridays ago, and it was Whitley against Ian Anderson. Ian, a pitcher at junior, already committed to Vanderbilt, who just won the national championship. A guy who will definitely be drafted next year, and it's just a question really of how high, I would imagine. What made that matchup so special, and what makes those players so special?
Well, Garrett Whitley has a very unique skill set. When you combine size, athleticism, bat speed, bat power, a guy that can run really well, those skills are really hard to teach, and it's really a God-given talent. Him versus Anderson is huge because Anderson, is a guy that can throw upper 80s, touch 90, real loose arm, a guy that can challenge a hitter like him. And northern hitters tend to be a little bit behind the curve, so what really happened was expected. Anderson, had the upper hand a little bit. But, Whitley's a phenomenal player, and once he sees that sort of pitching, consistently, he's going to be well on his way. Whether it be, where he gets drafted, if he signs, it's either going to be this year or 3 years from now. As a junior in college, that kid is going to play professional baseball.
Anderson plays for Shen, who is the top-ranked Section 2 team, Class AA, in the state rankings. They were a team that got to the New York State final last year before losing to Victor out of Rochester. What makes Shen so good? They're loaded again this year.
Shen, I think it starts with the coaching. They have a phenomenal a coach that does a great job with a really good group of kids, good core kids. I think you have to look at their feeder programs. I've heard a lot of good things about the younger programs and the interest level that they get. I've heard camps that they hold have hundreds of kids, younger ages. It's a great sign for the program and for baseball, really. Then you just look at sheer talent. I mean, let's look at their pitching staff. They have Brian Warzak, that's a Division I commit. That's a mid-80s lefty. On any team in the state, that's your number one. But you have Ian Anderson, who's a junior, who's arguably the best 2016 Northern kid as a pitcher, in the whole East Coast. He, is only behind Jeff Delge, who is out of Syracuse, who's a lefty that's 6'4", 225, throws 94. So, that's really good. That's really good, competition. He, that's your number one. Warzak's probably your two. You have Malachowski, who would be a number one on a lot of high school teams, who's a mid-80s righty, who's done very well. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable, the pitching staff. And, as anything, pitching carries teams deep, especially in high school. It's gonna win a lot of games. Then you look at the firepower they have. I mean, they have Andrew Padone. They have Frankie Pizzo. They have Josh Hainer. I mean, these are guys that are going to hit the ball. I know they've had a little bit of, they've had a tough time with the bats as of late. They'll have some big games. They'll have some games where they don't score. But that team all around, there's really no one, I don't think, better sheer talent-wise in the whole state. I know they've lost 2 games. We have them as like 4th in the state in the rankings, but I don't believe there's any team, from New York City all the way over to Buffalo that has the sheer talent that they do.
Ian Anderson, 4-0 on the mound, ERA of 0. That'll do pretty well for you as you're trying to make a run again towards the state championship. Connor Douglas, another name offensively who leads the Plainsmen. Dan, who else in this area? We know about Shen, we know about Whitley, we know about Anderson, we know about Maynard, the catcher at Burnt Hills, who's going to Notre Dame. Who else in this area, though, is flying under the radar? Who else impresses you out of Section 2?
We saw a kid, Jack Grapek, okay? This kid, goes to Gilderland. He's a left-hand pitcher. We were told, only gone about 13 innings so far in his career. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what we were told. We had him mid-80s. He's committed to Buck now. He's an outfielder as well, but really projects on the mound. That's a kid that, we just heard of. There's another kid, Danny Hops, from Saratoga. We saw him Saturday night, up to 88 miles an hour at junior, right-hand pitcher. Needs a little bit of mechanical work, but this kid, he could be a guy that could be the next, he could be the next guy touching 90 miles an hour next year. The 6'3" body, we really like him. Let's talk about Ben Anderson. Ian Anderson's brother, who I talked to a Division I coach the other day, who said Ben's probably a year behind his brother. Now that's scary for next year for Shen's team. If you had Ben as a pitcher, I know he catches. You had him in there. It's another mid-80s, maybe upper 80s arm for next year. It's pretty crazy. I mean, you have some really, really good talent in Section 2, and it's one of the richest talent sections in the whole state.
Dan Savit, Prep Baseball Report, New York. You can follow them on Twitter at PBRNY. A ton of events coming up throughout the summer. Dan, we're going to talk to you every Monday throughout the month of May as we get set for the Section 2 playoffs and beyond for hopefully several of our Section 2 teams. Thanks for being with us, and we look forward to doing it again on Monday.
Hey, thanks for having us.